to talk about the politics of any sort of tragedy, but the crime that we're seeing in the major cities, including these horrific shootings we just talked about, there could be a result at the ballot box.
Yeah, no question. Republicans, I think, are going to use the crime issue in this midterm election. You're going to see Republicans point to Democrat-run cities across the country where violent crime is up. You're going to see Republicans point to Democrat-preferred policies that they say are weak on criminals, say in New York City, where you've got the prosecutor there and the mayor, frankly, who are endorsing pretty liberal views on decriminalizing certain actions. And then you've got Joe Biden just a few weeks ago saying, I'd like to see other mayors and other people follow New York City's lead. You're going to see all of this in the context of the midterm election. And although you may not want to talk about politicizing the issue of crime, it is a political issue in that your vote matters. You know, if you vote for people who want policy A versus policy B, these are the results you're going to get. So I think there's room to run for Republicans on this. And I think it's one of the reasons, Jake, why you saw Joe Biden come out in the State of the Union and try to separate himself from the defund the police mantra that's taken hold in some quarters of the Democratic Party, because it's obviously quite unpopular.
Yeah, what did you think about that, Mayor Bottoms? Because obviously it's not just people in the cities who are affected by a rise in crimes. It's people in the surrounding area. And a lot of people think that it was a lot of voters in the suburbs of places like Philadelphia, Atlanta, elsewhere, that delivered the presidency to Joe Biden.
Well, what I will remind people specifically in Georgia is that the governor of Georgia, who is a Republican, is the chief law enforcement officer of our state per our state constitution. But also when you look at policies, when you look at some of the decriminalization efforts, they are centered on nonviolent offenders, nonviolent crimes. People, leaders in cities and states across America are still very focused on addressing violent crime. But again, you have to look at it as a whole. It's the reason in Atlanta specifically that we took money from the American Rescue Funds to put it towards violence intervention work, because you are either going to pay on the front end or you're going to pay on the back end. I sat as a judge for many years, and what I saw is that many times people came into court, they didn't have an education, they didn't have jobs, they didn't have access to mental health treatment, drug treatments, et cetera. So we have to make those important investments in those systemic areas while also focusing on getting violent offenders off of our streets, keeping them incarcerated once they get into court. I don't think that's a partisan issue. We all agree on that.